Hi Ubies, it's the summer holidays. It's that period between Christmas and New Year where no one really knows who they are or what day it is. But anyway, it's a good day to be outside and it's hot, it's sunny, and I've got lots of jobs to do. So one thing I've been doing is making sure the corn is pollinated, and the other thing is tackling the tomatoes. So I've done a few experiments to try and keep the bugs off my tomatoes this year. So I'm really keen to see how that's working out. So if you're interested, watch on. So this is my corn, and last year I had no luck with it. It just didn't get adequate pollination. But this year we've had a bit of a dry patch. So we've had about 5 days without any rain. And for the first time I've noticed loads of pollen. So I'm not sure if you can see all that yellow kind of dust. It's all over the leaves. There's chunks of it everywhere. And it seems to drop down from these flowery things onto the leaf and kind of work its way down onto the corn. And you can see these silks here. Hopefully they've been pollinated. And yes, I can feel corn in there. So with a bit of luck, this year we will have corn. I think last year what happened is it just rained too much and it just washed all the pollen off. So I've been out here giving it a shake, making sure it moves lots of pollen around. So hopefully we'll have some corn. I don't know what it is. Every time I come out here to film, they start barking and wrestling. The heavy breather's still with us. She's not been very good. Her back legs are failing her, but she's still getting around. She's still puffing and panting. The little one's still tormenting her. So last summer, being so wet, I had terrible luck with most things in the garden. But this year, because we have had stretches of dry weather, things are starting to grow well, and one of the things is the tomatoes. So this year I wanted to do a bit of an experiment with the tomatoes. I wanted to plant a few different varieties, see what worked well and what didn't, and what helped with the bugs and what hasn't. So these are the Roma tomatoes, and I planted them at the beginning of, or the end of spring, and they're going quite well. I've just got them staked up on some wooden stakes. I'm just pruning them every couple of weeks. These ones are going okay, but I've noticed something on some of the Roma tomatoes that I've got across the yard. So I think there's a problem with the soil over there. Let me show you. So these are the other Roma tomatoes. They're exactly the same, but look, some of them are like this on the bottom. So I think that's a blossom end rot, which is a deficiency in the soil. So this soil is only 2 years old, and possibly I didn't amend this well enough. You can see a few more, and also you can see a few of them, they've been stung as well. So I'm just going through and I'm just picking off the ones that don't look great, getting rid of them. But on a positive note, I've got loads of eggplants. So last year I tried the great big ones and they didn't do so well. So this year I thought I'd try these sort of finger length and size eggplant, and they seemed to be doing really well. I've just harvested a few of them. You can see them all in there, and they're going okay in the same soil as the tomatoes. So go figure. Oh, also my figs are doing really well. So I've got loads on there. Heaps of figs coming on. They're yummy. So the tomatoes behind me have done really well. I planted these at the beginning of spring and I grew them from seed, and I wanted to see how a couple of different varieties grow in this garden. And I've had really good results from these cherry tomatoes, and I think these are a tom thumb, I think. I can't quite remember, but you can see the vine is just about exhausted, and I've had like a bucket of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes off this plant, and that's been going all through spring into summer, and now it's pretty much done. And the other one behind me is a larger tomato, so I have no luck growing big tomatoes here because they just get eaten alive by fruit fly. So this year I thought I'd have a go, and I bought an organic spray which seemed to work for the cabbage moth, and that worked really well at the beginning of the season, but keeping the fruit fly off is a real challenge. So I've had to net some of my tomato plants, and I'll show you them. So these tomatoes I'm about to show you I've netted, and they're a cherry tomato, and I've basically planted them, put them behind the net, and I've done nothing else to them, and I haven't even pruned them. I just wanted to see how they would go with a bit of just neglect. But they're a shorter sort of tomato. They're about waist height. They're not like the great big vining type, and I'll show you, they're just behind the net. So I just made this net cage out of PVC pipe and some netting. There's just a little hole here to get in and out of the door, and here are the tomatoes in here. Look, they're everywhere. There's tomatoes. I can see tomatoes growing. Look at that. No bugs, no spray, no care. There's also an echinacea growing in there. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I've done nothing, and the net sort of seems to keep them all contained so they don't blow over. So they won't be ready for quite a few weeks yet. So when I've run out of tomatoes from my other plants, these will be ready to go.